Okay, how many Hall of Famers the Eagles got? Do you need those things? No.
I mean, a lot of them guys on their way the trajectory.
Saquon, that's it.
Man, come on, man. Jalen Hurts in about 4 more. He in there.
Who?
Lane Johnson, maybe.
Are we gonna sit here and act like Jalen Hurts don't show up in the big moment for his team?
Not always.
Woof, Doug.
When doesn't he?
That
Do you not remember the collapse that they had? I think it was in 2023 where they barely made the playoffs and then lost in the first round.
That was the whole season, but even when they lost the Super Bowl, that dude was balling.
Yes.
But it does help that he has an all-Madden team around him, does it not?
Absolutely.
Like, you have the best offensive line, the best defense, the best running back, one of the best receiving tandems.
Best defensive coordinator.
Yeah, but once again, when you go up against a team that also has all of that.
But here's the thing, GD, we never have that to go up against the teams that have all that.
That's not true. How much do you want to give to her? Like,
when did Tua have the best of everything?
A guy gets hurt, it happens.
When did Tua have the best of everything?
Nobody has the best of everything.
Jalen Hurts had the best of everything.
He doesn't have the best of
everything. He has the best wide receiving duo. He has the best running back. He had the best offensive line.
Miami had the best wide receiver duo.
Huh?
Well,
there were people who said Philadelphia.
The Dolphins had the best running game in the NFL, the best receiving threat in the NFL in 2023, okay? The offensive line actually played very well that year. Opening up run. No, but they were losing games early in the season against the good teams with those same players. Y'all keep ignoring that. This is the point. They've already proven with and without.
And Philadelphia
Raheem Mostert, your leading rusher, how many times did he rush for 100 yards in 2023?
Probably none.
Twice.
Okay.
And against the best team in Buffalo in week 4, he rushed for 9 yards.
Was it not by committee?
Not really when he had 20-something touchdowns.
It still was
Devon Achane gets hurt.
It was not by committee.
Doug, it was still by committee.
Achane got hurt.
He had like 800 yards in 6 games.
It was not by committee.
He had twice as many carries as anybody else on the team.
Yeah, but
209 attempts.
We were also more of a passing threat and stuff. It was a good balance that year where we attacked.
Exactly. Get balance.
My point is, in Buffalo, week 4, when Connor Williams goes down and we put Liam Eichenberg in there, he has 9 rushing yards. If you remember that game, we went tit for tat for the touchdowns. They scored 1, we scored 1. They scored 1, we scored 1. Connor Williams went down.
The game that Connor Williams went down?
Yep.
Poop.
So what was the excuse in week 3 versus the Eagles?
Huh?
What was the excuse in week 3? I think it was versus the Eagles.
No, week 3 was Denver.
It wasn't an excuse. Fourth quarter, he threw an interception in the end zone on a pass intended to Mostert.
What game are you guys talking about?
Philadelphia.
2023.
Yeah, they were down by 1 score, and then he forced a pass into coverage. It got picked off, and then the Eagles chewed out the clock and
he didn't force
the touchdown to make Doug. The game against Buffalo's Armstead went down.
Connor Williams did too. I have the picture of Liam Eichenberg trying to block, doing a split.
They were matching touchdowns the first 4 drives.
And same thing with the Ravens game that year. We were matching touchdowns. Then Tyreek had the drop, and then all of a sudden our defense couldn't keep up with them, and we couldn't match for match.
No, that game turned with a pick late in the second quarter.
No, I think the Tyreek drop is when all of a sudden we started losing momentum.
It doesn't matter. They're not good enough. But as I continue to point out, Tua is probably item number 7 on my list of why they won't win 10 games next year.
And the biggest problem with the Miami Dolphins is the fact that he's even on the list.
Because if he gets Josh Allen getting hurt would put him on the list.
But you didn't qualify just from injuries.
No. Injuries. I said earlier Tua wouldn't be on my list. You guys said, oh well, he would be on your list if it was injuries. And then I said, okay.
Yeah, that was Doug. Doug did say that. I get that. Yeah. But what I'm saying is, are we gonna sit here and act like Tua is a ideal product in his game?
Would you? If I substituted Tua with Matt Ryan in his prime, would you be okay with that, or would you still want better?
If Matt Ryan was in Miami?
Prime.
Would I take prime Matt Ryan?
Yes.
Yeah, I would, because I ain't got to worry about 40-yard comebacks.
You're back to the 40-yard comebacks, TD.
Are we not going to acknowledge the 40-yard comeback?
You clips of Patrick Mahomes throwing passes that Tyreek Hill to run back to.
There's levels to this, Doug. It's a matter of how often.
No, you're just fixating on one thing and harping on it.
Listen, Tua got a 70% rate of deep ball comeback routes. 70% rate.
You wonder why there's this
Mahomes
20% of the fan base that just hates on Tua.
All right.
I'm just pointing out the things that I noticed that a lot of people like to overlook, and then whenever it rears its ugly head on occasions and we lose, we're like, yeah, but.
Let's talk about where Jalen Ramsey's going to play. We've been
Thank you.
We are officially getting nowhere, and which is why this is part. I wouldn't talk to the media for the entire offseason if I'm Tua, because what good is it going to do?
And the funny thing is, me and Omar are equally as critical of Tua. Like, you heard me bring up the injuries and Omar bringing up the fact that, yes, he's not, but we will get labeled Tuaneers, which is a name that somebody on this panel made up that I get called all the time.
I didn't call you that, though.
No, you made up the name. I get called it.
But I didn't call you that.
I didn't say you did. I said I get called it from somebody who made up the name.
But they don't. But they're wrong because they don't know what the definition of a Tuaneer is. A Tuaneer is it's only somebody that if Tua got traded tomorrow, they're no longer Dolphin fans. They go with him.
Oh,
those are Tuaneers.
It got murky as the time went on.
By them from Alabama. A whole bunch of
or Samoans or Polynesian.
Yeah,
or Hawaiian.
there you have it. Those are so people got that whole term misunderstood. It's only for the lack of real Dolphin fans. They are gone if Tua is gone.
Okay, I can
remember start their conversation. Y'all don't deserve Tua.
You came up with that name, I think, in the off season of 2022 to 2023. And then now it took off a life of its own where it's like,
yeah, they make it anybody who support Tua. No. Every Sunday when that kickoff goes on, I support Tua.
Okay.
Now, by the third quarter,
definitely wants to get the Dolphin 3, 4, 5 squad.
I noticed something about the quarterbacks Omar has listed over the years: Kirk Cousins, Jimmy G, Chad Pennington. He loves game managers, thus loves Tua.
I love accuracy, completions, and red zone execution. Those quarterbacks deliver both.
I said this in one of my videos. They don't always
deliver clutch killer moments. Like, okay, if you want clutch killer moments, then Derek Carr should be your quarterback next year.
Let me ask you guys this question and then we'll get to the rest of the donations. If you had to choose between a quarterback with a ridiculous arm and mobile legs, but he has accuracy issues, or you got a guy who's not mobile but doesn't have a strong arm and is incredibly accurate, which one are you going for?
I know which one Poupard's picking.
All I'm gonna say is there are certain members of the Dolphins media corps who, during Josh Allen's rookie years, were making fun of him for how wildly inaccurate he was. And Omar, maybe you can back me up on this. I was like, this guy's going to be a problem before long because the athletic ability is off the charts.
Boy, did he spray it though early.
Early on, he was spraying it, but damn, there was something there.
Yes, that is true. That is accurate. Which is why I know Poupard will always pick the arm because he's a arm queen.
I resemble that label.
I am going with accuracy. I want efficiency. I want execution. I want you to convert third downs and keep your team on the field. I want you to score touchdowns in the red zone, not field goals, touchdowns. And yes, I love a scrambling quarterback, but that eventually fades. Look at Cam Newton. Those I keep waiting for Josh Allen to fade, and eventually he's going to get old enough, or he's going to be hit enough where it's going to fade. If not, he's a first ballot Hall of Famer. But
Lamar Jackson,
Lamar Jackson too. Lamar Jackson has worked harder at being a pocket passer, and I respect that. And so has Josh Allen.
But he has
there were some in the South Florida media who don't necessarily cover the Dolphins per se, whose name I shall not mention, who kept ragging and making fun of Lamar Jackson as a passer in his early years. And it was like, the hell are you watching? And this guy now has become a very, very good passer and on top of being Like a
Yeah, I
ridiculous.
remember a few years ago we called him a running back. He came to Miami and torched us for 5 touchdowns.
Yeah, but that was 2019.
I'll never get that. I was at the game. But I'm gonna take the mobile guy with the arm because I actually was opposite of that in the past. But Tua has showed me that I'm gonna take the mobile guy with the arm, and the main reason why you're gonna need about 12 of those passes to go down the field. And sometimes you just got to make the league easier by that one big explosive play. And that accurate guy, a lot of times it's the bang, 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 bang. All right, we passed the 50. Bang, bang. Teams like the bend but don't break. They like that. The defenses that bend but don't break, they like that because they're waiting on that offensive hold. They're waiting on you give them a greater chance for penalties. People talk about, the Miami Dolphins having a lot of penalties now. Well, when you run this kind of offense, you open yourself up for a higher probability of penalties, which all it takes is one, and now you're behind the sticks, 3rd and 12, or whatever it may be. So I'll take the guy with the arm and mobility because when their secondary is on point, there's another element you got to worry about.
So do you think the league has changed? Because if you look at it the way it used to be, like Joe Montana, he didn't have a crazy arm, but he was incredibly accurate. You even Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, Tom Brady didn't have a weak arm, but he wasn't Josh Allen-esque arm. You know what I'm saying? These guys were more, I'm going to tear you up in the pocket. I'm going to, pinpoint throw. Whereas now you see the guys who are leading the league is Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes with the leg. Do you think there's a shift, or do you think it'll ever go back to being pocket passers?
No, I don't think. I think there's a shift, and they're opening the door for more athletic black quarterbacks to be actual quarterbacks. Where back in the day they used to force them to change positions, and But I agree. While I have my personal preferences, I know I'm a dinosaur. I'm still running an offense with a fullback.
Yeah.
I don't mind.
The NFL, I know defensive coordinators and very good defensive coordinators. They want that Tua guy. Give him to me. Give him to me. They don't want the scrambling guy. They don't want that guy because that guy's going to break the rules and break contain. And that's the new way of football. Unfortunately, it's how many of those guys? How many of those guys came into the draft this year? Not even Cam Ward. He's not that quarterback. Those guys are so few and far between, and it's hard to find. But I guess when you see another one coming up the pipeline, you got to tank your whole season to go get him in order to, and then hope he develops and pans out. I think we've learned from the tank. It's not exactly the most ideal thing to do, but it's. I think that the league will come back. I think pocket precision passers will eventually come back and be in vogue.
Here, two quick things, if I may. Number one, I don't think so because defensive players are getting even more athletic than ever, and the space is even more limited than ever to get the ball in. And this is where, to me, my definition of good arm strength isn't necessarily the bomb over the top. It's the ability to throw a fastball when you need to squeeze it in a tight window. And this is, or get some zip on the ball if you're throwing on the move. And this is where, like Tua, if he can set his feet, will throw the beautiful deep bomb. That's not an issue. But if he can't set his feet on the run, that ball's not going to get there very fast. Or if he's got a very tight window and he needs to zip it, he can't zip it.
Or he needs to throw out to the boundary because and he can't set his feet. Oh, it's going to be bad.
It's a rainbow.
Yep.
Patrick said, Doug, Joe Montana and Brady could literally call the playbook in the huddle, do full reads by year 4. Just so people know in the comment section, me asking this question wasn't trying to compare Tua to Josh Allen. I was just asking a question because I think that's what Patrick's thinking by comparing Joe Montana and Tom Brady to Tua.
Tua better.
But also let's pump the brakes on what Tua was doing in year 4 and not, because I don't think any of us really know what he was doing by year 4.